For those who are visiting today, that's the word of our church for the year. Word more.
Yes.
Man, I'm just typing stuff here. Kelly is train your muscles. And I wrote a little something about all of them. Train your muscles and keep evolving to the point of loving God with all your senses so that you can work your vision, hoping that it will come to pass. That's all of them together. Let's give them a hand. I just want to share a little bit of when the people of Israel are transitioning from being in the wilderness to going to the promised land. And one thing that happened is God not only freed them just to have people worship Him. God freed them to show them how to worship, to show them that they can have a better life, and to show them that He is willing to let them choose a better life. So they're entering the promised land. And the promise that God made to Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac is about to be fulfilled. But there is this thing that God is telling the people is like, hey, I need you to choose. I need you to choose. This is the year of more. But there is a choice that we have to make. Do we want it to be the year of more? Because if we want it to be the year of more, then there is a choice we have to make. And I want to read a little bit of verse 15 and verse 19. In Deuteronomy chapter 30 says, see, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. And the verse 19 says, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life, that you and your offspring may live. The first thing I wanna share is God gives you the opportunity to choose. Some of us may have an image of God of being a punishing God, a destructive God, a God that is mean, a God that wants to do things His way just because He's God. He's a loving God. He's a loving God. He loved you so much that He sent His only Son to die. And the Word of God says that Jesus came so that we can have life and have an abundant life. God is not an arbitrary God. God gives you not only the ability to choose, but He also gives you kind of like the cheat sheet. It's like, hey, choose life. I'm giving you the ability to choose, but I need you to choose life. I remember when I was growing up, my mom used to tell me, I used to hang out a lot with my friends, and I remember she would say, if you go out, I'll have to punish you. And my attitude was so wrong. Because I looked at her and I said, if you're going to beat me up now, because I'm going to go. You can beat me up now, because I'm going to go. And I hope that's not our attitude tonight towards God and His Word. You know, I was writing these and I was thinking, I hope that's not our attitude towards God. Because He's not here to punish us. And I was talking to my friend, he's visiting from Dominican Republic, and I was saying, God doesn't need to punish you because your own evil will lead to destruction. He doesn't need to punish you. He wants to bless you. He wants you and your offspring to live a life of more. The second thing I want to share, and my time is running really quick, God's blessing is for you and your offspring. God's intention is just to make His covenant eternal. He wants to perpetuate His covenant with every generation, and that your children and you can live good and healthy. And He says He says to John, He says, hey, I want you to prosper and be healthy as your soul prospers. So this brings me to a parallel here. Jesus is teaching in the Sermon on the Mount, and He says, enter through the narrow gate. Again, in a new covenant, the same God is saying, I want you to choose. Choose what? Choose to live life the more that you can Because the more that you can grow spiritually, the better your life is going to be. If your spiritual life gets better, everything in your life will get better. God doesn't want you to leave His Word just because. He wants you to live according to His Word, because there's principles in His Word that will bless you forever. The narrow road or the narrow gate represents a life of self-leadership, a life of leading myself so well that I can help others accomplish what God has written for them. The narrow door represents discipline, the discipline that says, Lord, help me get better so I can do better and represent you better. Yes. This is life by design and not by default. This is what it really means to live life by design. Walking through the narrow door and obeying God's words. The wide gate represents a man that has no self-discipline. Proverbs 25:28 says, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Going through the wide gate means to have no boundaries, no limits, no self-control, giving into anything and everything. That narrow gate represents submission to Jesus and to obey His word. And I'm here today to present this final thought. God is willing to bless you and prosper you, but it is your choice. Yes. Commitment is what separates dreamers from doers. Do you want to be blessed? Do you want to be healed? Choose life. Choose narrow, but choose now. Yes.